Once again, I come to you all with a Touhou fan game, but this time things are a bit different. It's more of a story, an experience of it if you will. Now this game may look scuffed, janky as all hell, and a bit unrefined, and that's because it kind of is. But nostalgia is a hell of a drug, and making retro style games that emulates Zelda Ocarina of Time sounded interesting enough for me to buy. This game is made by one guy, or so I think. The whole engine is made from the ground up too, so at least I can't make fun of the Made in Unity logo here. And 3D games are expensive and time consuming to make that only the best AAA developers can handle. So this isn't quite Ocarina of Time. Nintendo has a large, well-paid studio filled with expert developers, and all we got are energy drinks and methamphetamine. This game engine is so powerful that no mouse or keyboard can handle playing it either, so I won't be able to use my new gaming mousepad. But don't worry, I'm still on board. Let's begin. We start off by having Reimu wake us up. We've dropped into Gensokyo uninvited, and she's offering to help send us back. But there's a big problem. Someone has frozen our way back. She already knows the culprit and vows to go deal with the idiot who did this. This is probably a good time to mention that even though we spend most of the game playing as Reimu or Marissa, there are some sections where we, the no-name protagonists, are in control. I confirmed this by jumping like an idiot whenever Reimu was talking. You'll see this game is really trying to emulate Ocarina of Time, down to even the control scheme. From the circle targeting and dodging to how they attack and move. But Link has a sword, and we have, maybe not the best weapon to melee with. Whenever we defeat enemies, they drop those familiar Ps to help give us more damage. We kinda need them since our attacks are pretty limited, and hitting enemies can sometimes be easier said than done. We come across a donation box, this game's version of a hidden item to find. I like how blunt Reimu is by saying, yeah, this shit ain't gonna help you get back, but I mean, gotta pick him up when I see him. Not long in, we run into Marissa. We tell her we're off to go beat Cherno'S ass. She joins our party without hesitation. Marissa attacks slower, but does more damage and she can sprint faster, but I found this kinda shitty in practice. I had a hard enough time hitting stuff with Reimu, so I mostly kept Marissa in the back. The whole first level is platforming. Jump to platforms, ride on platforms, glide on platforms, and sometimes try and find Reimu's precious donation boxes. I do make an earnest attempt to find them all, but I gave up after finding one of them was actually hidden in an enemy I walked past. But still, I thought I'd find them all for you guys, so I decided to check the Steam community section for answers. But every tab was empty except for the screenshot section, which the top posts were just upskirts of Marissa. Classy. Moving on. Eventually we make it to the second level, Cherno'S Cave, which is indeed very reminiscent of a certain level from Ocarina of Time. Let's see if you can spot all the similarities. But we got two problems though. One door is locked, and the other big important looking door is missing a bridge. Guess we're going the other direction. Alright, well the key was literally just inside the only door I could go through. There is another area I could go to, but it's being blocked by a bunch of gray balls. The next areas we find contain several battles and platforming for keys. Keys which we will use to unlock more doors. And even though I mostly played as Reimu, I did swap to Marissa to see if she had a unique key breaking animation. And why yes she does. Fantastic. You get a little mini boss battle where afterwards I'm rewarded with a new ability for Reimu. A Yin Yang Orb, or as it's better presented, the ability to conjure balls. You're supposed to use them to get to higher places, but my first attempts don't go very well. They're slippery and trying to jump on them sends them flying. The orb can also be used as a weapon that deals even less damage than my melee attack, but does annoy them even more. Okay, I figured it out. I gotta jump in the air and then conjure the orb, allowing me to finally advance to the next area. We now also have the solution for the gray ball walls I've come across. We just gotta kick the orb into it and stop. Now I need to explain that one of two things can happen when you do this. It can go perfectly okay and the balls bounce away, or you can end up slowing down time like I did right here. I timed it. I get stuck in stasis for about 50 seconds while the balls calculate where they want to go. But whatever, we now got Cherno'S dungeon key. Everything goes smooth until I end up in this section. There's a bridge I need to knock down to reach the boss down below, but there's a problem. It's too high up for me to hit it with my orb. I tried killing all the enemies in the room, and that wasn't it. And then it hit me. They really expect me to climb up using my orb summoning technique, which, mind you, does expire after a short time, so I have to act kind of fast. The bridge is down, and we got the key, so we head on through and up Ganondorf's castle to give it to Cherno'. Reimu scolds her and tells her to fess up. Cherno' says what's the point in pranking if you're gonna admit it, and then Reimu counters with saying she was gonna slap her no matter what she said. It's our only real boss fight so far, but Cherno' is no match for my strategy of constantly strafing. We just gotta knock her down a few times and spank her to put an end to this. Re-emerge victorious, and Cherno' blows up the floor, sending us down into the depths. Reimu manages to look cool by saving us, but we lose contact with Marissa in the process. We end up in the next level, the tower's basement. This time it's mostly puzzles instead of platforming. The puzzles aren't very difficult, just tedious sometimes. I do have to solve this particular puzzle twice though. Why, you ask? You see, when you are down to one red heart, the game constantly gives you a low health beep that was driving me insane. I lost most of my health trying to fight these dumb enemies that shoot lasers at you. So I thought, why don't I just save the game and dunk myself? You can save your game at any point, and I had tested this in a previous area. You just continue back at the level without losing progress, or so I thought. Turns out it saves everything you do, hitting switches, lowering bridges, but not this particular puzzle. At the end of it, we finally meet up with Marissa. After a quick chat, I'm back in control, and I'm sad to report that I got lost again. I legitimately thought I had to use orbs to scale up to where Marissa was, but the ground was slanted and wouldn't let me. I didn't show the footage earlier, but there are really some locations the game expects you to do this. For my stupidity, I get rewarded with being frozen in place. But don't worry, I elegantly set myself free. We fall down the pit and end up in the next level, the Celestial Corridor. It's full of platforming, but at least it's a bit interesting this time. But don't worry, we still need to do plenty of ball bouncing here. We do also fight some new enemies, which surprisingly are easier to deal with than the ones in the first level, since the flowers can't move and the birds just slowly come right at you. I do just fine until this part that I can't seem to figure out how I'm supposed to hit this ball wall. Even when I go up to the obvious way that puts me in a better position to hit it, I'm too high up and I just kick the balls over. I fail several times in finding a way to actually make it close enough. Spoiler, I think I was supposed to come back here with Marissa's new ability you unlock not too far from this area, since the chest behind this ball wall gives you the master key. But my autism proves more powerful and I find a way to bend it in a way that hits the wall. Now that we get the key, we can go face Cherno' again. This time, it actually feels like a boss fight, but unfortunately for Cherno', I finally learned that breaking blades of grass could give my health back. So even when she bullet hells me, I just let myself get hit most of the time. It's nothing too crazy. This time we gotta use Marissa's ability to take out her ice guards and her ice shield, which is kinda difficult with the controller honestly. Also, I get to spank her with Marissa this time. After knocking her down a few times, we defeat her pretty easily. Reimu bullies her for being weak, and then Cherno' does something stupid. Her clever solution is to freeze all three of them together, which Cherno' forgets doesn't help her escape. We, the protag, assist by kicking the Cherno' cube until it falls into the abyss. We ride down peacefully, which brings us back to the starting areas. We head back to the shrine and deal with the ice blockage now that the Baka has been thwarted. Reimu gives us directions on how to get back, and Marissa tells us to never come again. I try and take the donation box before leaving, but the game doesn't let me. A job well done. They both sit atop the shrine and watch me go. The end credits roll, which consist of sources for royalty-free items used and the 1 or 2 developers behind this. In the end, I managed to only collect 21 of the 31 donation boxes, but that's okay. Sometimes it's just about the friendships we made along the way. I'll be back again with more Touhou fan games and other anime game content soon. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.